Hello and welcome, everybody. DRT Wednesday from Kokomo this week. Glad you could be with us. I am Billy as usual. AJ, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. I'm ready for this battle at the Bullring
Minor
here
track is
at the
closed.
virtual Kokomo Speedway tonight. This is typically non-wing grounds, hollowed grounds here in Indiana for the non-wing boys, USAC boys. But tonight it's the wing guys coming to town with the dirt racing tour. We've got a whole bunch of good cars loading into the lobby. It's going to be a lot of fun. Quarter mile bull ring stuff, short track stuff, which is very timely right now for a guy like myself and the rest of these guys that normally compete in the Pro Series because they go to Fairbury on Monday, which is, at least a close comparison to Kokomo here. So you'll see these guys trying to tune up for Monday's battle at Fairbury for the World of Outlaws iRacing Sprint Car Championship.
Yeah, it's a good little warm up, good little tune up. Get some short track action in, which here actually lately Kokomo has been really good. So normally we would see it, right around the rim. Anymore, you can kind of roll the bottom. They moved the tires in where they're supposed to be a couple seasons ago, and it's produced actually some pretty good racing. Probably my favorite short track out of the three or four we have on the schedule. So haven't had a lot of shake up in the points necessarily, but we'll take a peek at them here real quick. James Eden's still your leader. John Batista, Michael Sheridan, David Heilman, Kevin Click in rounding out your top five. Alex Bergeron starting to creep his way back up after missing a couple of races. Running some other stuff that he had obligations to. Kevin Hanley, Jeremy Zarfos all sticking in the top 10. Jeffrey Stewart actually climbing into the top 10. Getting into the top 10. So good job there to Mr. Stewart. Good to see him racing well with the DRT. AJ, you're pulling a week like we did last week, where you're going to be running this deal. Tonight in the program. So, what's your expectations of Kokomo? I know you absolutely love this place.
He's being facetious because this is like one of my least favorite tracks on the sim. I do actually. What's funny, even though it's one of my least favorites, I perform pretty well here in the official races. But of course, league races a lot different than official races. You'll see this track get very slick tonight. As in comparison to what you would see in an official lobby. However, we do have a track reset before the A main here tonight. I think you'll see the dash and the A main all on a fresh or somewhat fresh track, and that's going to make a big difference for these drivers here. But uh, as Billy said, Kokomo's changed here recently. You're going to see some guys on the bottom. You'll see a lot of guys on the top, and then as things slick off, you might even see some guys running in the middle as well. So there will be multiple options for lines for these drivers here tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Myself, I'm just looking to put it into the feature and try to get some notes for Monday because it's going to be a good group of drivers here tonight, and one mistake can keep you out of this race, especially when it's up on the wall like it normally is at Kokomo. So you gotta be on your toes, and I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say the elbows up thing, which I said it, but I didn't mean it.
Well, you gotta plug something somehow. But I see pretty much everybody congregated at the end of pit lane. I think we're gonna have got about 2 minutes left in practice as of right now. So we're probably getting ready to fire here in about 30 seconds or so. But this track has changed quite a bit. When it first came out onto the service, we saw you had to be up on the fence the entire time, or else you were going to be in trouble. Now that the bottom is starting to work its way in into a little bit more of a piece, it's opened up the racetrack a little bit more. As we'll go ahead and get practice underway here from the Kokomo Speedway. Kind of got a little bit of a banking to it. Nothing too crazy, but it does have a seam right around the middle of the racetrack. Right around the middle of the racetrack that it does some weird things to the balance of the car. Is actually we're looking right now, James Tiernan making his first appearance into the DRT this year. Got a pretty solid field of cars right now. Should have 5 heat races, I would anticipate, which will be good on this quarter mile. So Kendall Tucker running second quick right now. He's been extremely quick as we're getting through. Just had a lot of bad luck. Good opening round at Volusia until tough break bit him in the Pro Series. So a lot of these guys using the DRT as pro race tune-ups, so to speak. As we'll go in, John Batista currently sitting into the pit area right now.
Yeah, I'm looking. You were talking about this racetrack and how there's kind of a seam here. It's got Kokomo has what we like to call progressive banking, where the banking starts out at a lower percentage at the bottom of the track, a lower degree. I'm sorry, and then by the time you get to the top side of the racetrack, it is a higher percentage or a higher degree of banking, to where it holds you a little better than it does at the bottom. That makes for great racing, especially for the non-wing cars. And you'll see that here tonight. And I think the thing that is going to be most interesting, this track is going to change a lot throughout these heat races. Remember, we've got that track reset before the feature, so everything kind of gets thrown out there. But each heat race is going to have a definite different feel. And as we saw in practice, the quick time was set by Hayden Cardwell by a large margin, who was able to get a big run down the straightaways and run the bottom through the corners, which won't be possible for long, but as it is, it's going to make for some good fast times.
Yeah, and we'll take a peek at Jeffrey Stewart. We were talking about him earlier, getting into the top 10 in points. He's out making his qualifying run, ripping the laps right around the bottom side of the racetrack. So definitely where you want to be on the bottom side right now is actually we'll go to. Gets a little bobbled up, but not too bad of a time. Tiernan goes P2, actually P3 now. Andrew May looking really, really tough. Hayden Cardwell now on the track. He was your fastest in practice, remember. We'll see what he can lay down here as we get going. Ooh, not going to be a good one there for... Actually, no. Hayden Cardwell goes quick time by 0.2 of a second. So, what a performance by him. Lane Stevens out on the racetrack from the upper Northwest. Ran his outlaw kart here a couple weeks ago, I believe down at Red Bluff. He has a little bit of trouble there. Dan Zager's out in the 8 car. We'll go take a look at Kendall Tucker. Unfortunately, goes around for a spin cycle. Batista going to try to make something work here.
Before Tucker did that spin, he went to P2 at a 10.590. I can tell you the track is already slick up top. It was a 0.2 of a second difference for me from the top to the bottom. And the bottom is quick right now, but how long will that last here going into this first heat race?
And Alex Bergeron still sitting on pit lane, not qualified. Alex Bergeron doesn't take a time, which is rather interesting, I will say. Definitely not something that we would have expected out of him. As we get ready to roll into heat race number 1.
4 heat races on tap here tonight. Looks like I have positioned myself in heat race number 4, so I've got to start thinking about the adjustments that I'm going to make, because this track is going to be quite slick by the time I get to touch it.
Looking at the Kevin Hanley car, the 110, is he will be your pole sitter out of Albany, New York, for heat race number 1. Hayden Spike Harvey outside of the front row, Colton Hardy and Michael Sheridan in the second row, James Edens and Hayden Cardwell in row number 3. James Edens, your point leader, will roll off in 5th. He will need to win this heat race to make sure he gets himself into the dash. Garrett Halsey, Corey Pritchett, Sam J. Price, and Sabin Babent. Actually, good old Sabin won the Rookie of the Year down at the Lawrenceburg Speedway this year in his first year in a 410. So, good job to him.
It's no easy feat right there. Lawrenceburg's got a very tough local run of sprint cars there.
Yeah, one of the toughest in the state for sure. There, Putnamville, Kokomo, Lincoln Park, just everywhere. Everywhere in Indiana really runs a lot of tough sprint car racing. So, as we're getting ready to roll heat race number 1, these laps go quick. 10 laps, 10 cars. Top 4 transfer to the A main. Your winner goes to the dash. If you're first time watching, winner goes to the dash. And then it's the 4 heat race winners tonight, so that'll make up the first 4 cars in the dash. And then the 4 fastest qualifiers overall that made it into the show will then also go into the dash. So if you're starting in that 3rd row, you really got to get at least a 4th to make sure you transfer. Other than that, if you're James Edens, you really got to win the thing in order to put yourself into the dash. You're going to be starting at tonight. At best,
Aiden
9th.
Cardwell at the tail as well as serving a penalty from last week. So he's got a long way to go here as we start heat race number 1. Kevin Hanley on the bottom right now has the lead, but to the outside, the 55 car pulls away. We are watching as well James Edens in the 39, who is working the inside. He's got Michael Sheridan there to his outside. Hayden Cardwell already moving his way through this field. He's up to 3rd off of turn number 4. Contact to Colton Hardy. Hayden goes around, heavy damage on the front of that machine. He's going to continue. He got it straightened out. That Slick and Swindell team having a little bit of an issue there, running into each other down the front stretch. That's going to be a lot for Cardwell to overcome. Meanwhile, out front in the lead, it is Hayden Spike Harvey doing work in the 55. Behind him is Kevin Hanley, who is being worked on. More contact there for Colton Hardy, and he collects his teammate.
Oh, boy.
This is absolute carnage.
Yeah, we'll go back and see where all of that started here. As we'll watch, and he looks like he goes on the backstretch. It should be coming into turn number 2 right now. Tries to go underneath. Hanley's moving down the racetrack, doesn't get into him. Edens gets a piece of it. It looks like, okay, everybody in this heat race got a piece of that.
Yeah, Sheridan got nose wing damage. Hardy, Edens. It just looked like Hanley was trying to dive back to the bottom, and I don't think Hardy expected that. Contact between those 2 cars started the whole thing. Looks like the 88 car got some as well. Not sure who that is. Let me see if I can. That's Garrett Holsey, who got a piece of that as well. And it looks like Kevin Hanley is parked in the infield. He is not going to be able to continue. So it is Harvey out front. Sheridan with no front wing. Halsey in 3rd, and 4th place right now, the front wingless Hayden Cardwell, who has made his way around Halsey and is starting to work on Sheridan now for the 2nd place, but Cardwell's into the fence and across the track again.
This is not the way we would have expected Mr. Cardwell's evening to start off here.
He's a little frustrated, and he actually drove it straight into the infield, claimed that caution. Problems there for Hayden Cardwell on lap 8, and more drivers getting into that as well.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say there might be more cars out there with no nose wings than have nose wings at this point.
There is one clean race car on this track, and that belongs to Hayden Spike Harvey, who has led all the way here and is only, 2 laps away from putting a heat race number 1 victory into the books. And because of Cardwell being in the infield and other drivers having some problems, that's going to give opportunities to guys to get into tonight's dash. Hayden has a chance to win and get in, and then we will be looking at the other drivers to see who can pop their way into tonight's dash as well. So we've got some surprises here in heat race number 1. Problems there on the start for Michael Sheridan, who gets a little bit loose. He has got the 9 car. Is that Sabin Babent in third right now?
That
or
is, but here comes Edens to fourth with a strong move.
Corey Pritchett there on the bottom, unable to hold off Edens. Babent has moved his way into the second place. Checkered flag waves. Harvey is going to win. Babent in second, Sheridan third, and James Edens coming home in the fourth and final transfer spot, which I do believe will give him the second spot in the dash.
Yeah, that's a that's a tough way to start. We're gonna do our best to hopefully not have that again.
This is Kokomo, baby. Come on.
Kokomo, an absolute chaos. But heat race number 2, another 10 cars making their way onto the racing surface. Daniel Zegers from Pella, Iowa, rolls off from the pole. Mason Hannigan, a Pro Series driver, outside of row number 1, with Casey Miller inside row number 2, with Andrew May to his outside. Kevin Click and Kendall Tucker, your fastest 2 qualifiers in this one. Kevin rolls off 5th. Kendall rolls off in the 6th spot. John Helms making an appearance with DRT this week. He will roll off in 7th with Matt Dixon to his outside. Trey J. Galgon in 9th, and Arthur Kilburn rounding out the field. Not too many dirt sprint car racers you see from Vermont, so we like to see that out of Arthur Kilburn. And this one's kind of got a pretty interesting dynamic. I know Zegers doesn't have a lot of experience here at Kokomo at all. Mason really actually loves the place, especially right around the bottom. Your third row is another one to take a peek at. Kevin Click and Kendall Tucker really both like this racetrack. Kendall especially. I would anticipate Kendall getting up to the front here pretty quick.
Good crowd here, and we got to keep an eye on that pole sitter as well. Zegers has pulled in a couple of heat race victories here so far this season. We'll see if he can do it again here in heat race number 2. Good start over Hannigan, who's able to slide into second. Behind him, things are spreading out. You can see Tucker on the bottom side of the racetrack there in third. He is trying to make waves on Hannigan. Not going to happen there. A little loose. Nearly came up into the 31 machine of Andrew May, who has settled into fourth. He's got a little bit of contact there with Kevin Click, who is going to lose 2 spots as they were battling for the transfer there. Mason Hannigan trying to make his way around Daniel Zegers, who has moved down the racetrack just a little bit. Kendall Tucker trying to work the bottom, but it's just not quite enough yet. Matt Dixon is the man who was trying to make his way into the transfer battle. Andrew May has the 4th and final spot at the moment. Casey Miller, Kevin Click, both of them right there. Out front, Kendall Tucker has made his way around Mason Hannigan. They are still very close there, battling for second behind Daniel Zegers. These laps ticking. Oh, and Tucker's into the fence and upside down. Andrew May is going to run through Tucker's car, and he is flipping and landing here in turn number 4.
Yeah, he just made I hate to say it, but just straight up made a mistake. We went directly to him. We'll watch it again as you see him come down the back straightaway. There's a pit opening in the backstretch and just misjudged it. Got into the fence and it upsets your corner entry. Andrew May, nowhere to go, and Kendall goes around for a ride.
This crash starts not even the exit of 2. He's over the cushion there. It's going to upset the car and point his nose towards the right. He makes contact with the pit opening, which sends him into the other pit opening and into the fence. All kinds of problems there for Kendall Tucker. As we get ready to go back green, Zegers, Hannigan, Click, and May, your top 4. Dixon is the odd man out right now. Behind him is John Helms, who's going to be looking to find his way in. Kendall Tucker is still on this racetrack as Mason Hannigan makes a move on Zegers, unable to hold it. Zegers with the momentum on the high side of the racetrack. Kevin Click starting to poke his nose into this battle as well. Hannigan trying to slide up the racetrack, but unable to get in front of the 8 machine. He's going to have to take that line away if he's going to have any hopes of taking this heat race victory. But right now, Zegers doing exactly what he needs to do. Dixon has taken the fourth and final transfer spot from Andrew May. They are battling, but for the lead on the white flag lap, it is Mason Hannigan taking it away from Zeggers. Zeggers putting it to the bottom side of the racetrack. Who's going to win the drag race off of turn 4? It's Hannigan, Zeggers, Click, and Dixon, your final transfer into tonight's feature.
Heck of a finish, sir. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. So your heat race finishes there. Mason Hannigan, your transfer spot with Daniel Zeggers, Kevin Click, and Matt Dixon going on to the main event. Andrew May. Kendall Tucker was only able to salvage 8th, so that's probably going to put him in the back of the C-main. So he's going to have a tough go ahead of it later on in the program. But we are moving on to heat race number 3. And we got another pretty solid one. 9 cars for 10 laps. Travis Oldfield, your pole sitter, with Jeffrey Stewart to his outside. Lane Stevens out of Washington and James Tiernan to his outside. Assistant official, that would be Mr. Shea Paulo. He's out of Hanford, California. He will roll off in 5th. Mark Broderick in 6th. Dustin Hall in 7th. Tyson Landis and Alex Bergeron in 9th. So it's going to be interesting. The guy to watch in this one, I don't think is any any question. Let's see what Mr. Bergeron can do. Can he survive the carnage to get to the front of the field to put himself into the transfer spot?
We're going to have eyes on the 2-time world champ. See what he can do from the tail. Didn't get a qualifying lap in, so he's got a little bit of work to do. Broderick is the fastest qualifier in this race. He's got to make a couple of positions here to put his way in. Well, we will see how it goes here as we get ready to start heat race number 3. Travis Oldfield going to bring him down to green. Jeffrey Stewart trying to stay with him. Good start for Oldfield. Stewart able to hold off Lane Stevens. Behind them, it is James Tiernan and Shea Paulo, the teammates. Ooh, we got some contact there as Bergeron was trying to make a move. He's got that thing gathered up. They were 3 wide coming off of turn 4. Paulo, Bergeron, and another car made contact, causing some serious issues there. Mark Broderick from 6th spot is trying to work his way around Jeffrey Stewart for 3rd. James Tiernan right there as well. They are 3 wide off of turn number 4. Stewart to the outside. He's going to try to take away 2nd spot from Stevens. They're 4 wide through 1 and 2, and they're still down the backstretch. Stevens, the meat in the sandwich as James Tiernan takes the spot, and now Stewart off of 4. Broderick hits Tiernan, goes a half spin, but he's able to continue. That brings Alex Bergeron into the battle for the final transfer position. Lane Stevens in 4th, and Bergeron coming at him, Billy. Oh! Cut 2 spins for Bergeron, and the caution flag is going to wave.
That was just a very, very odd set of circumstances. Really, the same thing happened a couple different times throughout this race. The same thing that happened to Broderick happened to Bergeron. Luckily, though, no harm, no foul. Didn't hit anything, so he'll be back. He'll be back there in the back of the field, trying to put himself into the main event. But right now, really, Travis Oldfield's kind of been the man of the hour so far, at least in heat race number 3. He's been cruising away, but they were 4 wide for a solid lap. Tiernan, Stewart, Stevens, and Broderick. So, and again, this yellow does help out Broderick too, making the bottom side work early in that one.
It looked like Stevens got into the slick there, and it slowed him down and sent him down the racetrack, which Bergeron did not expect. And it's unfortunate for Alex, who has to go to the rear of the field. We're getting confirmation from the admins right now. They've thrown the extra caution flag, but it looks like there will be no penalty there, no real fault for the yellow flag there, just a race and deal. So it is Shea Paulo, who is the odd man out in 5th spot right now. He's got to try to get around Lane Stevens here on this restart as we are working lap number 7. We'll see if Bergeron can do anything. He's made a lot of passes so far in a short amount of time. Can he get back into this battle? Travis Oldfield, meanwhile, has led the entirety of this heat race. He's got James Tiernan on his back bumper now. Shea Powell with a move around Stevens. He's going to put the slider on Jeffrey Stewart for third. Stewart able to get back around Powell into the fence. Bergeron now using the outside of the racetrack. He's going to get around Powell and move his way into the fourth and final transfer position. On the cushion goes Alex Bergeron. He's going to cross the line in fourth. Paolo's upside down, but I think he's going to get off the racetrack. No yellow. Around Stewart goes the world champion into third spot. Fantastic racing action here in heat race number 3. Broderick's going to get a little bit of a wheel from Dustin Hall. Lane Stevens is 5th spot right now as Bergeron goes around Tiernan for 2nd. And that is how they will finish. Travis Oldfield with the win, Alex Bergeron in 2nd, James Tiernan 3rd, and Jeffrey Stewart in 4th.
What a run by Bergeron. Still not going to put him into the dash. So that second place starting spot, he will start, looks like 11th in the main event tonight. So, but Oldfield, good win for him. Bergeron, Tiernan, and Stewart all heading to the main event. Stevens, Hall, Landis, Broderick, and Shea Paulo all going to the lesser mains as we are getting ready for heat race number 4, the 4th and final heat race. We will take a look at your starting grid. John Batista led the point battle all the way through halfway point. He's still in 2nd. He needs a good night tonight to recover. He's had a couple tough weeks. But Tyler LaPointe will be to his outside. AJ Job, your announcer, rolling off in 3rd with Colton Davis to his outside. Rusty Kruger in the Swindell Speed Lab car from Loomis, California. He will roll off in 5th. Joshua Stanky, another pro driver from, I'm not sure where Joshua's from, actually, but Black Diamond Motorsports driver. Rolls off in P6. Ryland Gray in the 7th position with William Hobart to his outside. And Cole Newhoffen from Waverly, Nebraska. He will roll off in the 9th position. And we are getting ready to go 1 to green this time by with John Batista on the pole. Going to be interesting to see what John can do here. He's one that kind of likes the top side of the racetrack, but he may stick it to the bottom just to try to salvage some of the carnage. But we are getting ready to go green off of 4, and Batista fires right off the bottom. And what in the world is going on? But the yellow flag is not out, and I have absolutely no clue what just happened.
It looked to me like John Batista got a little crossed up down the front straightaway. He kind of drove through the slick, and I think he got sideways, and then all of a sudden it looked like a bad start when really I don't think it was.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and take a look at it in instant replay. He looked like... It's almost like his... I hate to call it mechanical failure, but it's almost like his pedals didn't go. He fired and then it just stopped so abruptly that I'm really not sure what in the world happened there. So we're going to get a restart here. 1 lap into the books, unfortunately, but Tyler LaPointe is going to be your leader. AJ Job running in the 2nd position.
Little sad about that, honestly, because I crossed the line in the lead, but the yellow come out just before the line, so I got a little more work to do.
But yeah, Colton Davis is going to be in the 3rd spot. Cole Newhoffen's getting himself back in line. We're still under yellow here as they're trying to get the field sorted out. But Tyler LaPointe will be the one to lead them back to green once we get going.
Looks like Tyler LaPointe's going to get an EOL and John Batista as well. John, because he technically caused the yellow, and Tyler, I think, drove through the infield. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but they have put me in the lead.
Announcer's curse, I guess?
Hey, that's the kind of announcer's curse I like.
But A.J. Job now bringing the field down to green with Colton Davis right behind him as we are green on heat race number 4. Davis and everybody seems to be right up around the rim now, except for Newhoffen. Newhoffen's making it work right through the middle of the racetrack. Kruger and Stanky. Stanky came from the 6th spot. He's up into the 4th position right now, 3rd now. As he's trying to get himself around Rusty Kruger, Newhoffen's still getting bottled up behind these guys, trying to figure out where to go. Wheel banging down the front straightaway. Cole Newhoffen now keeps just rolling the bottom, trying to make it work, go where they're not. Running that extreme bottom line, making it work. AJ, though, still hanging tough up there on the top side of the racetrack with Colton Davis in tow. Davis really making him work for it all over the rear tail tank of the 91 car. But Newhoffen last lap was back up into the 4th position ahead of Josh Stanky, so as long as he keeps hitting the bottom like he is... Oh, and a little bit of contact on the front straightaway for Newhoffen. But it looks like now Stanky into the fence a little bit there. So Stanky now sitting on the outside looking in. Newhoffen running away and hiding on this one. But we've got a battle for the race lead, folks. Colton Davis trying to make something work, but Rusty Kruger to the bottom side with a slide job. Oh boy, we got a heck of a race here. AJ takes over the lead once again. Rusty Kruger gonna cut down to the bottom and chuck a slide job, but here it's so hard to throw 1 and 3 and 1 and 2. You got to check up so much coming off of turn 2. So AJ's able to power away. AJ Job.
Wow, that was fun.
AJ Job, looky there, coming through and running inside of. He will put himself into the dash. It looks like that will be your finishing order. Kruger, Newhoffen, Davis with Stanky, Batista, LaPointe, Hobart, and Gray going to the C or B main here on the program as we are getting ready to fire for tonight's C feature.
I tell you what, talking about this racetrack, obviously the top is very, very slick. Somehow my car was still tight in the center of the corner. So especially in 3 and 4, I was having to pedal it a lot to make sure that I wasn't nosing into the outside wall coming off of 4. And that's where Colton Davis was really eating me up. But if you look, there's a good amount of moisture there, about a lane off the top coming out of turn 4. And once I started to get into that slide job battle there with Mr. Kruger and Davis, I was able to utilize that and kind of take those lines away from him and still have a pretty good jump down the front straightaway. So it's an interesting track right now. It will be interesting for the C and B main before they reset it for the A.
Yeah, and your C main starting lineup, 11 cars for 12 laps. Tyler LaPointe, Garrett Holsey on the front row with Kendall Tucker and Mark Broderick. A lot of fast cars in this one. Start 3rd and 4th. William Hobart and Hayden Cardwell, your fastest qualifier outside of the 3rd row in the C feature. Arthur Kilburn, Shea Paolo, Rylan Gray, Kevin Hanley, and Trey J. Galgon round out your field. 12 cars, top 4 advance to the back of the B main, where then it looks like we will take 8 out of the B. But we are green.
Good start there between these drivers. You see Holsey there on the outside of the racetrack trying to hold off Mr. Tucker and Broderick there. 3 wide down into 3 and 4. You got Hayden Cardwell right on their back bumper, and behind them, Shea Paolo working the high side. Ooh, Tucker with the slide job to the lead, but he's going to get passed once more by the 23 there off of turn 4. They are 3 wide for 3rd. Cardwell's going to move around. Broderick has to really check up there to not run into the back of him. That brings Shea Paolo into this race. Problems for Cardwell on the bottom side of the racetrack. Touch the grass just a little bit. That's going to allow Paolo around the outside. He's going to get Cardwell and Tucker, and now he's working on the top 2. Shea Paolo utilizing that cushion to perfection right now. A little bit of a slip there in 1 and 2, so holding on is Tyler LaPointe out front. 2nd, Garrett Holsey. And Shea Paolo trying to make his way around, but here comes Hayden Cardwell with a big slide job, Billy.
Yeah, third to first, but then back to third and probably back to fourth or fifth. But he
Ooh,
gets a heck of a run on the outside. Oh, but Kendall Tucker, the big loser on that one, moving towards the back half of the field. But Tyler LaPointe and Rylan Gray trying to make things work now. Rylan moving up towards the front, but oh boy, into the pit gate, out he goes
and
for Tyler LaPointe.
Well, Tyler LaPointe had an issue there off of turn 4, and that's what checked everybody up. Now he's out of this race from the race lead. Very tough on Tyler LaPointe here tonight. Kendall Tucker has to get around Mark Broderick here to make his way into tonight's race. He's got Rylan Gray and Kevin Hanley right there with him. Tucker into the outside fence, pushing just a little hard right now, but he's got to go. Back around Rylan Gray. It is Mark Broderick in the fourth and final transfer position. Out front, it is Hayden Cardwell. You've got Shea Paolo in second. Garrett Holsey now in fourth as Broderick has made his way around, and the white flag is out. Cardwell out front. Tucker with the slider. Little bit of a right rear there on Holsey. He's able to keep on going. We'll see what he can do here in turn number 3. Big slide job coming in. Not going to happen. Kendall Tucker's going to get that fourth and final transfer position. Ooh, Holsey not happy with that either. I think he was looking for a little afters on Kendall Tucker and has been removed from the server. Garrett Holsey, frustration boiling over. He's going to be leaving tonight, which he was not qualified for the B main anyway. But we will move on to tonight's B main. 12 laps the distance. Top 8 will advance to tonight's feature.
B-Main rolling out on the racetrack. 8 cars will transfer out of this one, I believe, AJ. Tell me if I'm wrong.
8 cars will transfer, yep. So that's this is one of those races where these guys have to race hard, but they also have to be smart because you can hurt yourself very badly instead of being patient in this race. It's very possible to be patient, run your own race, and let other guys fall out of the race, and all of a sudden you find yourself in one of those transfer spots.
But your starting grid for the B-Main, Corey Pritchett, who had a really good run in the heat race, actually, from the tail of the field, putting himself on the pole to be with Andrew May to his outside. Lane Stevens out of Washington rolls off in third. Joshua Steinke, Sam J. Price in fifth. John Helms in sixth. Dustin Hall, seventh. John Batista in eighth. Colton Hardy in ninth, who had a rough heat race, number 1, earlier on in the program. Casey A. Miller rolls off in 10th. Tyson Landis in 11th. Hayden Cardwell, your C-Main winner, rolls off in 12th. Shea Paolo, Mark Broderick, and Kendall Tucker. So your last couple of rows, pretty hot and heavy. So it's going to be a little bit of a... It's going to be a rough one. Trying to get through the field, but these guys in the back half, they only got 12 laps to do it on a very short racetrack. So gonna be a wild one, and gonna be interesting to see who can make it up through.
Going green off of turn number 4. Big jump for Corey Pritchett. Andrew May has to watch him drive off in the distance. Lane Stevens on the bottom side of the racetrack, but it is Joshua Steinke who moves into the third spot. He's on the cushion, and he's bringing John Batista with him. Batista into fourth around Lane Stevens. You can see a lot of guys on the bottom. Colton Hardy, Mark Broderick trying to work their way up on the bottom side of the racetrack, but it looks like it's starting to go away here. Joshua Steinke with the power move around the outside is going to take the race lead away from May. Here comes Batista along with him, and the 22 car of Hayden Cardwell, your C-Main winner, now into the transfer spots here in the B and looking to do even more from there.
Yeah, pretty unreal. 4 laps in from the 12th spot up into a transfer already, or well into a transfer already, as he gives Andrew May a little bit of a right rear, who he's looking to have a good performance here in the feature as well. Got some toughness going on in the back.
A lot of battling back there as Shea Paolo, Lane Stevens trying to fight it out to make some positions. Kendall Tucker has made his way around those boys. Remember, we are taking 8 from this race. That means that the final transfer spot right now is being held by Mark Broderick, who is in the 8th spot. So it is Lane Stevens and Shea Paolo, the two drivers that have to make their way around cars to get into tonight's feature. Broderick on the bottom side of the racetrack battling with Colton Hardy there for 7th. Paolo has cleared Stevens and is now working his way into this battle with Mark Broderick. Broderick on the bottom side of the racetrack. It looks like the bottom's going away. I was going to talk about Cardwell, who was on the bottom side of the track and started to slide up there. That's when we saw the contact with Andrew May. I think he realized that there's just not much left down there. And Broderick has given way to Shea Paolo, who is now in the 8th and final transfer position, as we're going to see the white flag this time. Problems there for Kendall Tucker. He's got that thing gathered back up, still in a transfer spot. Joshua Steinke trying to navigate lap traffic and find his way into victory lane. We are watching that final transfer battle here. Shea Paolo on the bottom side of the racetrack to protect. Corey Pritchett slips up just a little bit, but all of those boys able to make it through into tonight's feature. Steinke, Batista, Cardwell, May, Pritchett, Tucker, Hardy, and Shea Paolo rounding out your top 8.
Clean and green, B main. So those 8 drivers stamp their ticket into the feature event. So we will do, here's the warm-up session onto the racetrack right now, as these boys are getting their dash lined up. So probably see, we'll actually, you know what, let's go, these guys are getting the track worked in for the main event tonight. Sorry, they're a little bit tongue-tied. Actually, let's go on board here. Yeah, well, no, we won't, because he's in the fence. Let's go on board with Kevin Click right now, actually. Out of Ontario, Ohio, your Fake 500 inaugural winner. Let's go for a little bit of a spin cycle, and he's going to reset himself. So let's see. Rusty Kruger down there working the bottom side of the racetrack in. The reason for the reset, this track gets, extremely slick. Extremely slick. So wanting to have as good of a racing surface at the end of the feature as we do at the beginning. So we've seen that throughout the DRT. Don't want to be a one groove racetrack. So doing a little bit of a warm-up session while they draw for dash positions. Once Zane sees that the track is in good shape, he will then move on into the dash for the evening. So 8 cars for 6 laps later on here. But just like to thank everybody for coming on out for the DRT this week. Been a good set of racing so far, I think. And we actually made the announcement while we're watching some warm-ups. Made the announcement yesterday. The second annual Fake 500, presented by Wicked Energy Gum, will roll off January 9th, since the pandemic is kind of still here, but yet at the same time we're going to be doing our best to bring you guys some good action from Indianapolis this year, this winter. So Fake 500 last year, it's run with the Lotus 79 old Formula One car. It's an homage to Indy back in the day. It looks like cars are coming off of the racetrack now for the dash, but pretty fun event. Takes 2 weeks to run. We're gonna have a dirt midget race actually the night before the 500. Will be run actually in Kokomo this year. Last year it was at Indianapolis Raceway Park with the pavement sprint car. This year, Kokomo with the midgets. So be sure to check out Elbows Up Sim Sport on Facebook for more details on that as we get through the week, or as we get through till that time. But entries are already rolling in. Sponsors are coming in. The Crescent Donuts is back for the Patriot 100 this year as well. Roofco Bump Day is involved. Spencer Stubbs Pole Day. It's going to be a heck of a week. We're looking forward to it. So be sure to stay tuned. A lot of some NASCAR guys and such will be out there as well. So really looking forward to that as we get ready to go for the dash. Be interesting to see where the announcer, Mr. AJ Jober, will roll off into the feature or into the dash.
Looks like I am outside row 3. I had no idea because it was really hard to hear the dash draw, but that's where I'm going.
Well, then that's fantastic. So good job drawing. And actually, I think the big surprise, James Edens, who we said really was going to have a tough time to get into the dash tonight with qualifying where he did, actually in the 5th spot, so not real hard, but Hayden Cardwell basically gifted him the dash spot with only 4 heat races tonight. So James Edens will roll from the pole with Mason Hannigan to his outside, Kevin Click, Michael Sheridan, that would be Hunter or Spike Harvey, AJ Job. 6 laps for the dash. James Edens off to the early lead, running down on the bottom side of the racetrack. Kevin Click in tow, trying to make it work down there as well. The bottom side real quick. James Edens running away, and oh no, Mason Hannigan into the fence hard. So Mason Hannigan, he's actually still onto the racetrack. Hayden Spike Harvey, though, not so fortunate. And I think we're going to stay green here. Nope, yellow's out. Yellow. So James Edens had a heck of a lead there. 3 laps into the dash. Timing and scoring in these manual races not on your side. But James Edens, Kevin Click, Michael Sheridan, Travis Oldfield running pretty solid here in the 4th position. He's had a lot of speed all season, but just not a lot of luck. But Rusty Kruger, AJ Job, Hayden Spike Harvey, and Mason Hannigan rounding out the field. Mason Hannigan no longer has a nose wing on that thing. But we are getting ready to go back green flag action as James Edens brings the field down. Kevin Click going up to the top side of the racetrack. Teammate running the bottom side. So it's going to be... got a 2-groove racetrack right now. Travis Oldfield absolutely just working the top side of the racetrack right now. As he gets into the fence, and oh boy, everybody into the fence. But Oldfield recovers okay. Michael Sheridan's still out there in 3rd. Oldfield into the fence. This track is just so incredibly fast right now, but it's definitely going to burn off quick. The top side you can see already starting to go away. AJ doing his best to make it work, but Hayden Spike Harvey. And I think this will be the final lap. James Edens crossing the line in 1st, so Kevin Click will roll off in 2nd. We'll wait for the official word, but Michael Sheridan in 3rd. Hayden Spike Harvey, I think, in 5th. AJ Job, actually, in 4th. Is that accurate?
I think that's accurate. The top is actually, I mean, the track is super fast, but we've got a little slick line at the very top, not quite to the middle of 3 and 4, and it's causing all kinds of problems up there. Moved down into the middle of the race course, and there's a lot of meat there. So it's going to be really interesting as we get ready to go here in the feature. There's a lot of room to race right now.
Yeah, and that's really what we were talking about earlier for the track resets. For the track resets was this track gets very different very quick. In the iRacing universe, if you guys don't know, when the tracks get dead slick, there's just one lane that's dominant. That's pretty much it. So what we tried to do is make it to where it's racy all throughout the field. You may see some lines changing throughout the race. You may see, a guy like Eden start on the bottom side, have to move to the top. There in the little aerial view, the top side's kind of worn in, but the middle's still there. The bottom's still got a lot of meat left on it. So it wouldn't shock me if this race was won in the middle, the top, or the bottom. So definitely going to be an interesting 30-lap main event on the program tonight as we're getting ready to roll over into the feature. But as I was talking about earlier, the Fake 500 coming up, presented by Wicked Energy Gum. Big thanks to Matthew, a big supporter of sim racing, coming on board with us once again for the Fake 500. And got a few NASCAR drivers. I know Landon Castle's doing his best to be able to run it. We got a few feelers out to some other guys too. So, going to be a star-studded event. I know Kevin Click was extremely excited last year to win the main event. So, win the 200 lap race known as the Fake 500. Heck, we had Jack Hewitt as the Grand Marshal last year. Gave the command to fire the engines. It was just a very, very special event, especially being able to be done over Memorial Day weekend. So, with the way that the world's going right now, we didn't want to take the risk of there not being another month of May, which, by God, there better be a month of May this year. So we decided to start doing it in January. That'll be the official date for the Fake 500. So second one coming around pretty quick, and then the next one we'll have to wait until the following January. But already can't wait. Can't wait. Like I said, entries rolling in every day, and everything is looking pretty solid. We should have some more purse entry or purse information coming out. It's definitely going to be paying a little bit more than last year, at least at the top of the field. And last year we take pride in this, that everybody that made the 200 lap 500 mile race ended up with more money than what they started with. So that's always a plus for the sim racers out there. Will Jack be back from Paul Ball 4? We're working on a couple other things. We'd like to switch it up each year and bring some new people into the fold. So once we have that announcement ready to go, we'll definitely be sending out some press releases. So like I said, follow myself on Twitter at SprintCarCast. Zane Franklin also on Twitter, and then Elbows Up SimSport. Elbows Up SimSport on Facebook is where you're going to get all of your information for the Fake 500 as well, broadcasted here on the Tuna Can 79 network and Facebook, YouTube, anywhere we can publish that, we're going to do it. So we are getting ready to go for 40 laps around the Kokomo Speedway. You'll see 43 up on your ticker up at the top of the screen. That's just to get cars aligned where they need to be. On the big tracks, we don't have to add laps, but here on these short tracks, to get everybody lined up in the proper order, yeah, it's definitely a must. So, as you can see them starting to roll into formation. Your front row will be James Eden and Kevin Click, but we'll go through the starting grid. These are not the official starting spots. These are just the cars into the field. Hayden Spike Harvey, Mason Hannigan, both dash cars, along with Travis Oldfield and AJ Job, Sabin Babent, Daniel Zagers, Alex Bergeron, Rusty Kruger, Michael Sheridan, Kevin Click, James Tiernan, Cole Newhoffen, James Edens, again, as we said, the pole sitter, Matt Dixon, Jeffrey Stewart, Colton Davis, Josh Stanky, John Batista, Hayden Cardwell, Andrew May, Corey Pritchett, Kendall Tucker, Colton Hardy, and Shea Paolo rounding out your starting field. We will not be going green this time by. Just going to let the green flag comes out naturally. Lets the field shuffle, clears some black flags, and we'll be getting ready to go here in a couple of more pace laps. But big thanks to everybody here watching this week. Looking forward to 40 pretty fast and furious laps around the Kokomo Speedway. Track's still in pretty fresh shape, so are you going to be set up towards the beginning of the race or towards the end of the race? That's going to be key.
And that is a complicated thing because you're talking wing, gear, all kinds of things. There's a lot of options here for drivers to change.
And we will go green next time by on the field. James Eden's going to be real tough to beat off that front row, but Kevin Click's going to see if he can get it done. Michael Sheridan, AJ Job, Hayden Spike Harvey, Mason Hannigan, Travis Oldfield, Rusty Kruger, Sabin Babent, and Daniel Zagers rounding out your top 10 as we are green at Kokomo. Tight on the getting off the corner for James Eden's coming off to the green. But he's starting to run away and hide already, trying to get through trying to get away from this pack of wild dogs right now. Mason Hannigan trying to make the topside work, gets into the fence a little bit, but he's moved up quite a bit here in the first lap and a half. But Hayden Spike Harvey hanging real tough on the top side of the racetrack. AJ Job falling a little bit further back throughout the field, but Hayden Spike Harvey making it work around the top side. But Kevin Click doing his best, and we are yellow, and it looks like Andrew May is going to be Andrew May and Shea Paulo. Actually, we're going to go back and see this again, an instant replay here, and Shea Paulo had a little bit of laggy issues. We're not real sure what's going on there, so that's an odd one.
Tough race right now.
That's an oddity.
We talked about the meat that was in the center of the track there in the dash, and it is not there right now. So I went to the middle of the track expecting to be able to stick, and it didn't. So it's going to have to change a little bit.
1 to green this time, or that time by Shea Paulo sitting in the infield, so he will no longer be a factor in tonight's 40-lap main event. Starting lap number 7, Edens brings him down to green, gets a much better start than he did originally, but Kevin Click still hanging tough. And lap traffic, if this stays green, is definitely going to be coming into play, as James Edens already staring at the back half of the field as we go yellow. It looks to be Dan Zagers this time, putting himself into some trouble here, as we'll go back instant replay here to see what happened to Mr. Zagers. As they go back green, or they went back green, excuse me. Yeah, just gets free into the fence and just decides to and gets spun around there a little bit. So tough break there for the man out of Pella, Iowa, close to Knoxville. He will park it in the infield, but we are 1 to green this time by, going green now off of turn number 4. 7 laps into the main event. As it cycles back through, Edens gets another good start. Kevin Click, though, hanging right along with him, trying not to let him get too far away. Same thing with Sheridan. Sheridan's trying to make that middle work. Hayden Spike Harvey still railing the top side of the racetrack. Oh, as we've got cars into the fence all over the place, and yellow once again. I think AJ, is it just getting into a piece where is it just getting into the piece where these guys are starting to press a little bit with some fuel in the car, to where the car's just getting a little bit unhappy and getting into the fence and putting themselves upside down?
Yeah, and I think the track is slick and wet in goofy positions. I know I just found myself in trouble there in turn 3. I gave it a little more gas to try and get the car to pitch and set, and it just did not set quick enough for me into the outside wall there in the center of 3 and 4, and nearly caused big problems on exit as Newhoffen and Bergeron were running up. But I will see if this thing's still put together.
Yeah, tough start here. We got only about 6 laps into this main event right now, so track's starting to get wore in a little bit. Guys are going to have to start getting patient, pedaling the car, and making everything work here. That's going to be very important as we get back to green. Edens with another fine start. Upstairs, running the wall just like he needs to be. Hayden Spike Harvey, though, really I think is the story of the night, as he is going from 4th, trying to get into 3rd, as Kevin Click gets into the fence, and we're still green, but I saw something going on in the back there with Mason Hannigan as he got into the fence. But Hayden Spike Harvey up into the 3rd spot, and yellow once again. And it looks like Mason Hannigan now in the infield as we take a look at him there. We'll go back and check on replay, see what exactly occurred. Same thing as before, as everything else, and AJ gets a big shot of that, so he's got no nose wing anymore. But Mason Hannigan, tough break. Getting into the corner entry here is extremely tricky. Probably more so here dependent than anywhere else. If you miss corner entry, you're in a lot of trouble.
It's complicated because it's different on each end. You know, turn 1 is very tight, whereas turn 3 is open, and then 2 and 4 are the exact opposite. So you got to make sure you hit it right for what end of the track you're on.
Yeah, as we go back, green action here. Hopefully we can stay green and get some track worked in. Feel like Eden started this race 10 different times. Travis Oldfield making a move up there underneath Rusty Kruger, but don't sleep on Mr. Bergeron trying to come through the field. He's up into the 7th spot. Eden's starting to inch away, but Michael Sheridan now takes over the 2nd spot away from Kevin Click, who's starting to get loose up there on the fence, but Hayden Spike Harvey, power move through the middle trying to get by. Oh, as he tags into the fence. Hayden really running a good race, but Rusty Kruger now into the top 4 with Bergeron. Bergeron trying to get himself into the top 3. But Rusty Kruger has really been faster and faster the last few weeks. He was extremely good in the pro race last week. As he gets into the fence, announcer's curse. Bergeron spins around, but he saves it. But Bergeron now is going to go well back into the field. But we got a heck of a battle here for 2nd as the yellow's out one more time. And that one, it looks like we got our announcer back.
Yeah, lap before, Travis Oldfield went into turn 1 and smacked the fence, and I kind of followed him. It's kind of the story of the night, honestly. There was a couple of cars that I was quicker than, and there was a couple of cars quicker than me behind me. So everybody's running hard, trying to make it happen, and I run up over Mason, I run up over Travis, and it's just really complicated. When guys have problems in front of you, all of a sudden you have problems as well, right there in your lap.
Or tough break for you. Sorry to see you out, but well, looks like you get to announce the rest of the race.
It's definitely a little better than running into the back of people here. James Eden's out front. Michael Sheridan in 2nd. Harvey in 3rd. We are back green here, working lap 18 in this race. That looks like it's still 17, I'm sorry. So we are seeing James Eden's on the high side of the racetrack, starting to gap the field here. He's got that thing working really well. Ooh, Harvey into the outside wall. I think the guy to talk about is Cole Newhoffen, who has got the bottom side of this racetrack working. He has that car pinned down and has moved his way around Sheridan into 2nd spot. Now Harvey into the outside wall as he's trying to make a move there on Sheridan for 3rd. Rusty Kruger in 4th. Alex Bergeron in 5th. And we've got another caution. Colton Davis on the backstretch upside down. Not sure how that started, but I know how it ended.
Yeah, that's a tough go about it. A lot of attrition here, but he went for a heck of a ride down the back straightaway. Once again, got into the wall in 1 and 2, and he goes for a hefty ride down the back straightaway. So he will be out of this event.
That's one of those where you're pretty happy this is just a video game.
Yes. Yeah, and if you're in VR, that's when you close your eyes. But yeah, we didn't even talk about Cole Newhoffen. He started fairly deep, and he's up to 2nd right now and really trying to put some work on Eden's. But if the bottom will stay there, that's going to be the key.
It will for a little bit, but it can't stay forever, and that is the question. Will Newhoffen be able to move off that bottom if he can get around Eden's? But first, he has to get around Eden's. Looks like turns 1 and 2 working a little bit better on the bottom than 3 and 4. You can see Newhoffen with the lead down into turn 3, but Eden's with that high line, with the momentum, is going to come and lead that lap. Fantastic battle for the race lead. Multiple grooves of racing action. They are 4 wide behind them as Travis Oldfield makes contact with Harvey and goes around.
Short tracks, short tracks, short tracks. We'll go back and watch this again in instant replay, see exactly what happened here. Bergeron got real crossed up on the bottom, and just everybody ran out of room. So no harm, no foul there damage-wise, but tough break for Oldfield. He was running extremely well. He's had a lot of speed in the DRT, but he's just not. He's had a lot of speed with DRT, but he's just not been able to seal the deal as far as getting the feature finishes that he deserves. As we are looking here at Mr. Edens, your leader, we're just at halfway or just past halfway.
How important was that run off of turn 4 there as the caution comes out, which gave Edens the lead under caution? So it's definitely a big deal. We were watching that battle, and that top side in 3 and 4 seems a little bit better. So if Edens continues to win the drag races to the line, that's going to be complicated for Cole Newhoffen, who has the car working really well in 1 and 2.
Yeah, Cole's been working really hard with that Maverick Simulations group there of getting these cars faster and faster. He's been extremely quick in everything. Just, again, no luck. Hasn't had the finishes.
Green flag is out once again. We are working lap 23 in this race, and Edens saw what was happening in 1 and 2 and went to the bottom to not necessarily block Mr. Newhoffen, but he took the line away. He knows it's quicker down in 1 and 2, so Newhoffen has to work a little bit harder. Let's see if Edens goes back to the top. He does in 3 and 4. Looks like that is the quick line at the moment. Edens holding on to the top spot. Now on the top through 1 and 2, that's going to give Newhoffen a look down the backstretch. Behind them, it is Sheridan, Kruger, and Alex Bergeron also on the bottom there has moved his way into the top 5. Now he's taking a look at Sheridan there for third. You can cover those guys with the blanket. Very tight battle there. It is the 9 car that's just behind them. That belongs to somebody. Sabin Babbitt, actually. In the 77 on our Toulouse 9 on the track.
And we got a race for the lead. Newhoffen barely. And Newhoffen takes the lead down the back straightaway.
Edens into the fence there in the center of 1 and 2. A little bit of an issue. He's got that thing gathered up. And now lap traffic will play its part. Newhoffen on the bottom of the racetrack trying to work his way around Corey Pritchett. Lap 30, now being worked on the racetrack. James Edens on the high side. We know he's got it working in 3 and 4. We'll see if he can get it on the other side of the racetrack. A little bit of a clear track here for the race leaders, but we've got 3 cars in front of them battling it out that they will have to deal with if this race stays green. Rusty Kruger has held off the charging Alex Bergeron. He has moved into the 4th position here. Actually, I do not see Bergeron on the racetrack right now. Might be a little, there he is, a little farther back. So problems for the world champion. Now we got the battle. Edens has moved to the bottom side of the racetrack in 1 and 2. Not got caught up behind Newhoffen there. And now he's moved off the top in 3 and 4. Edens with his patented middle of the racetrack line in 3 and 4. He's found a patch of moisture. He's going to try to utilize it to its best ability, and Newhoffen sees it. He's starting to move up the racetrack as well. The bottom is giving up, and James Edens down the backstretch looks to take the lead here on lap 35. He's got the lead, but he's got Travis Oldfield in front of him as well. Edens to the top side of the racetrack trying to hold off Newhoffen. Oldfield gets out of the way, lets these guys through. We're coming up on lap 37. Newhoffen starting to fade a little bit. Edens to the bottom side of the racetrack to get around Jeffrey Stewart there. And he has started to build a gap in this race. James Edens, the man out front. Only a few revolutions around this race course left, but still plenty of danger left in this race. He's going to go to the bottom side of the racetrack, try to stay off of that wall because that's where he can have the most problems.
And
And I
Newhoffen hit the infield tire. He cut it way too close and hit the infield tire, but that puts him back with Michael Sheridan now. Sheridan takes it over second.
I keep forgetting that this race goes to lap 43. I thought we were going to 40. This is not over yet, and Edens has a lot of lap traffic to deal with. As Billy said, Michael Sheridan has taken over the second spot, but nobody is going to catch Edens if he doesn't have problems. But I tell you what, 4 wide through turn 2 can cause problems. The race leader trying to carve a way through the back of this pack. He's got Kevin Click to his outside. 2 laps left in this race. Newhoffen has given up the battle there against Michael Sheridan. Sheridan firmly into second place as the white flag will fly for James Edens. 2 more corners left for Edens to take victory here at Kokomo Speedway. Here he comes off of turn 4. James Edens going to take the victory in Dirt Racing Tour action. Second place going to go to Michael Sheridan. Third place looks like to Kendall Tucker.
What a run for Kendall. From the C to the B to the podium.
22nd starting position to third for Tucker. Newhoffen from 12th to 4th, and Alex Bergeron scores a top 5 finish there, rounding out our top 5 here tonight. Battle at the Bullring. James Edens, the man who takes all of the honors, out there doing a couple of victory laps just to let everybody know that he could go on and on and on.
But what a race. That was once we got going there, it was actually quite a bit of fun to watch. James Edens takes the victory. He will go, as they say at Kokomo, go to BC Parked at Victory Lane at the virtual Kokomo Speedway with James Edens taking the win. Michael Sheridan in second. Kendall Tucker running out the podium. Cole Newhoffen took the lead there. The bottom just went away a little bit too much on him. Came back and forth, but a good night all around for Cole. He's had a tough few weeks. But Alex Bergeron bringing home a top 5. That'll help him out in points quite a bit. Sabin Babent, that's a heck of a drive for him. We talked about him earlier. The Lawrenceburg Speedway Rookie of the Year in the 410 Sprint Car Division. Comes up 6th. Rusty Kruger 7th. Cardwell from the back of the field to 8th. Hayden Spike Harvey faded a little bit at the end to 9th. He was up in the 2nd or 3rd spot for a while. James Tiernan, his first appearance with DRT, brings in a top 10 finish, so good job for him. John Batista, Andrew May, Colton Hardy, Matt Dixon, Kevin Click went the wrong way. He started off real good and just probably lost the handle a little bit. Didn't, again, with the way the track resets are, it's all a guessing game of what the track's going to be, whether you guess right or guess wrong. So, but Shea Paolo, Jeffrey Stewart, Corey Pritchett, Travis Oldfield, and the rest of the field DNF. So it looks like we've got 2 out of the 3, and we're waiting on the race winner. Should we start at 3rd and go to 1st, or should we wait for James Edens?
Let's go ahead and bring in Kendall Tucker to talk to us here. Finishing 3rd at the battle at the Bullring, Kendall Tucker, all the way from, what was that, the C, Maine? How many cars did you pass out there?
I had to pass too many, honestly. I just put myself in that position, in the heat race, getting into the wall. Car was too tight. Just in the heat, I just got the gas, off too, and the car just took off straight to the right. So just hit the opening right there, and then we had to come through the C, like you said. But I think we rolled off 22nd right there, and to bring it up to 3rd is not that bad of a run at all.
To us about that racetrack, because it started out very wonky, different patches of moisture and different places for a lot of those cars to go. You started 22nd in that race, and I myself was in the race and found trouble when guys in front of me found trouble. So how were you able to pick your way through that field without running in the back of somebody's bumper?
Yeah, just you got to be super patient, in general, but especially when you're having to come from the back like that. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on back there, just a lot of hard racing. But I just kind of set up to run the bottom, since with that track reset, I figured the bottom would be pretty decent, for the majority of the race with the tires moved in here now. So we got up there to the top 10, and then the track, it kind of went back down there to the bottom, but I honestly didn't feel as good down there. I just felt too tight, so I just felt more consistent, and comfortable just ringing the top around there, and we were clicking off some pretty good laps there at the end. So I would have loved to have maybe got a caution right there, because I can about guarantee you there would have been a slaughter on Eden's right there into 1 and 2.
We would have loved to seen that there just for a moment. Now you go into Fairbury on Monday with the iRacing Pro League, and doing this well here at Kokomo has got to give you a good confidence booster going into that short track race as well. It's been an up and down season of some good and some bad in the Pro League for you, but how does this make you feel going into Monday?
I mean, right now after the race, feel pretty good. Just felt probably the smallest guy in the server in the heat race. Just getting into the wall is probably one of the most embarrassing things you can do on here. But I don't know. We'll just try and keep working and tweaking on this thing and find a good balance here come Monday at Falls. I've never ran a 410 race there. I honestly don't think I've ran one since the last prairie race, and I think that was my first ever race there. So I haven't ran a race there or turned any laps, honestly, with the tires moved in. But I'm hoping that bottom, will come in. If it's remotely fast, I'm hoping I can find a setup, and make it work. We really need to, not finish outside the top 3 in the pro deal if we want to have a shot at winning this thing after the bad luck we had in week 1. But I was just hoping to keep this thing up front, and qualifying good, and we'll see what happens.
Well, if anybody can go into a track that he'd not run very many laps on and do well, I have faith in him. Kendall Tucker, your third place finisher here tonight. Good luck going forward in the Pro League and in the DRT season going forward.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Good luck to all you guys as well. And I just got to thank my guys at Swindle Speed Lab and Bear Archery and K1 Race Gear and ML Performance. And thanks to, like all you guys again for the broadcast, you and Billy. And thanks to Zane, all the guys for the league. It's pretty cool. Any time you can get a 410 league, we're all going to get in here and take advantage of it and get some laps, thanks to you guys for everything.
There you have it. That's third place Kendall Tucker here at the battle at the Bullring. Let's pull in Michael Sheridan, who came home with the second place finish. Michael, you went up a little bit, down a little bit. You had to change your line there throughout the race, but you were the guy that was charging forward there at the end and able to come home second. Talk to us about it. How does it make you feel?
It feels great because this track is one of my least favorite. I always almost seem to run like crap here. So thanks to my buddy Kevin Click who helped me with the setup. But yeah, all in all, I was pretty happy for sure. Kind of like we were saying, I was trying to search all throughout the night, trying to figure out where I could feel good and run, and just kind of found something there at the end and could go forward.
Out there racing with these guys who are battling it out in the pro series has got to be definitely, when you're able to be up front with those guys, got to make you feel good, give you that confidence that you're doing the right things. You talked about the help from Kevin Click, who's been very fast here at Kokomo as well. So your team seems to be going in the right direction there.
Yeah, I would agree. We got a lot of fast guys on our team. We work well together. We're always trying to see if we can find something to give us a little bit more of an edge. And I think we found something. We all seem to be running really good.
So we're going forward here in the Dirt Racing Tour League. We've had a lot of wild shows here throughout the first part of the season. How do you feel going into the home stretch and even your championship hopes?
I got to feel pretty confident after a run like I had tonight. And pretty much throughout the season. I think my only race that I didn't finish well in was at Williams Grove. Got caught up in an incident and fell towards the back, but definitely feel confident going forward.
Congratulations on that second place finish. We know you'd like to be one step higher on that podium, and we're going to be watching you going forward in the races to come. So good luck and well done.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Yeah, looking forward to it.
That's second place, Michael Sheridan. Let's bring in the man of the hour, Mr. James Edens, taking the victory here at the virtual Kokomo Speedway, landing in BC Victory Lane. James, got to feel good here on this short track going into the pro race on Monday.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely helps out a little bit. We've been messing with the setup a little bit, trying to get more comfortable on the top, and I think we finally got there. So that's definitely going to help. And it's not so much running up there. It's not so much of a speed thing for me. It's just being able to make 30 laps without wrecking yourself. So I think we got that.
Definitely a complicated thing. I couldn't pull that off tonight. But it was a complicated track as well. I mean, it changed a lot throughout the 40 lap feature, and we saw you with a big battle there between yourself and Cole Newhoffen, who was able to work the bottom and really challenge you as you were on the high side of the track. And then we saw you change that line and try to take that bottom away from him as well. So talk about how you were able to read the track and what it needed to keep yourself out front.
Yeah, that track reset there, they did some good work, and I was surprised to see the bottom, and he was really making it work. I don't know if he just kind of full setup for that, put a bunch of gear in it to make it down there, because yeah, we got saved at one caution, and then I tried to go down there after the restart, and I couldn't turn or do anything down there. So I just went back to the top and was going to ride it out, and hopefully it kind of faded on him a little bit, and we could get it back. It worked out.
It did work out. It did get a little hairy there at the end, some lap traffic. Seeing you move to the middle of the racetrack, which is something you're pretty well known for. But like we said, moving into fouls on Monday, another short track. You got a good performance right here. How do you feel about your chances sitting fifth in the points in the iRacing NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Pro Series? So what do you think? Is this going to be your chance to really shine here at the start of the season?
It would be nice. Last week was pretty rough. You qualify. If you don't qualify good, you're going to be in the back, and it's just kind of hard to pass in those heat races. So you're just going to have to put in the time and get a good qualifying lap in, and then I think if we can start up front, I think we'll be fine.
Well, you heard it there. James Eden's calling everybody out. He said he guaranteed victory on Monday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, congratulations, James. Well done tonight on the victory at Kokomo, and we look forward to seeing you do well with the Pro League and with the Dirt Racing Tour going forward.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Well, there you have it. That's your top three from the virtual Kokomo Speedway. The battle at the Bullring definitely gave us a lot to talk about. You had some ups and downs, lots of contact and cautions. It was a fun night.